Welcome back to the Marching to Madness College Basketball Podcast, where I have one of my great friends in the biz here, Bob Cantu. Coach Cantu is a well-known assistant basketball coach who was the interim coach at USC. He also worked as an assistant at UTEP, Portland, Sacramento State, and Cal Poly. If you look at Coach Cantu's other bio here, he's coached or recruited 14 NBA players and worked under 4 NBA coaches. Coach, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for that introduction. I'm looking for an agent. Might need to talk to you about that.
Yeah, please talk to me about that. You know, I'm looking for whatever I can get inside the game. I'll be an agent. I'll be a writer. I could be a broadcaster with this little old Southern drawl. How's that?
There you go. There you go.
Hey, you know, we had some amazing upsets in this tournament. I mean, every year it feels like there's more. What's your opinion of so many teams taking upsets to the quote-unquote one-bid leagues?
Well, you have a lot of parity in all the divisions, and you have that for a lot of reasons. You got the transfer portal where someone like K-State can take 7 guys from the portal and they're older and put them together and win immediately. And then you have guys that have had redshirt years that have then added on what's called this COVID year, and they're old. Like San Diego State has had that whole group together for a long time. And so, you know, you're going to have teams that can not afraid to play with the big boys. And that's how you see how an FAU is in the Elite Eight. You know, Princeton could do the same thing tonight. I mean, really, it's anybody's game. Anybody can win or lose. I think everybody's bracket was busted. I think everybody is beat up on each other. There has not been a clear number 1 or number 2 in the entire season. A few years back, everybody pretty much knew it was Gonzaga and Baylor. You know, a lot of times it's just teams that it's just obvious, but this year it's everybody. You know, you see the last place teams are beating the top place teams in their conferences, and anybody right now that's still in it has a chance.
It really makes it even more interesting, even more better. I mean, the first 4 days rather of the tournament, in my mind, is the best particle of any sports we have. And you know me, I love all sports.
Well, yeah, it's exciting. You know, you sit there. I had written out all the games and the exact channels they were on, the times, and so I could, you know, I wanted, as soon as that one was going to start, and then I'd watch the one that was going to end the soonest all the way through, and then jump to the next one and try to watch as many as I could that way. And it was fun, you know, doing a bracket just with my family and friends. And it's an exciting sport. It just gets more and more exciting. And then, you know, as we get down here to next weekend in Houston, we'll find out who the winner's going to be this year.
Last night, Marquise Noel may be going into his own as the premier point guard in college basketball, and that says a lot. He lifted Kansas State once again with a 98-93 win over Michigan State. I mean, these Wildcats offensively look to me like they're as good as anybody we have right now.
Oh, they're talented. They play with an edge. They can get up and down the floor quickly. They defend. They're tough. They rebound. You know, like I said, they're older. You know, it's amazing how they put that team together, and everything just kind of came together quickly. You know, some people will talk about how when you recruit transfers in JUCO, they need a year to kind of settle in. Well, that's not the case there. And it's been really exciting to watch them. You know, myself living in Kansas City area, them being somewhat, you know, close by. A lot of fans, you know, support them, and my stepdaughter actually might be going there. So, yeah, excited to see how they end up.
Got the kid Keontae Johnson, who was at Florida. I was at that game between the Gators and the Seminoles the day he collapsed. And I mean, that out of everything I've seen in sports or been to, that was the most harrowing event. And to see him come back and lead Kansas State and score and be the number 1 or number 2 option inside of their offense, I mean, it's awesome.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing, you know, and so much goes into that. All the doctors that are involved, the medical people on both sides that have to release him. And then, the trainers that have to monitor him on a daily basis, 24 hours a day, and make sure that he's at the right place, and then to get his body to the level it needs to be in from a conditioning standpoint, and then to play well. And I'm just glad he stuck with it, and he deserves it. He's just he's a talent, but he's a man of a character and a belief, and he believes in himself, and he's showing the world, what he could do.
Mm-hmm. In addition, last night, the upsets continue. Florida Atlantic at the 18-2 run in the second half. Tennessee couldn't find the basket. The Owls are in the Elite Eight against Kansas State. Last night may have been as big of a issue with Zakai Ziegler being out because of how good Florida Atlantic's guards and how deep they are. I think they were playing a 5-out offense for much of that game.
Yeah, Florida Atlantic just has a lot of scoring power. And when they sub, they have sometimes even more scoring power. I believe 2 of those players were starters last year that bought into coming off the bench, but they could come at you in waves, and they shoot it from deep. And, Dusty, I worked with Dusty May at USC when I first started back in 2001, 2002. He was on that staff. I only worked with him for 2 years, but we've been friends since then. I texted with him last night. Congratulations. And, he's so humble. He started as a manager for Bobby Knight. He's worked his way up. He's worked with some, great coaches. And I was out at their practice, I think it was 2 years ago, and he does a very good job. The kids really, really listen to him. But he's just made winning contagious. And those kids, I mean, they're one game away from the Final Four. And I coached at UTEP, and nothing against FAU back then, but that was like, for us, we kind of would yawn and say, okay, we're going to go down here in Miami and hang out, and then we'll just go take care of FAU type thing, because they weren't very good, and there was no environment. We just wanted to stay in Miami, and figure out where we're going to go have dinner. But what he's done in a quick time, and to do what he's done, and now they're moving to a bigger conference. They're going to expand the facilities. They're going to have to throw him a lot of money with a large contract to keep him, because at this pace, he's put himself in a position for a national job now, these last couple of wins. So I'm so happy for Dusty. But yeah, they could win. They could win 2 more games. It could easily happen.
They're tough to match up with. John L. Davis and Elijah Martin, 2 big keys inside of that offense. But then, I think Michael Forrest coming off the bench has been stellar, because they don't lose any of that 3-point game, which is such a cornerstone of their attack. They don't lose any of that when they go substitute. You hardly ever see that.
Yeah, there's no drop off at all at any position. If anything, they might even get a little stronger. But the thing about it is, I think Dusty has them right at the point where they know that they can play with freedom. He doesn't hold them back. He wants them to take good shots. They're not taking crazy shots. But when a player feels the freedom to let loose and be who they are, that's how you get the most out of them. And all of them are doing that, whether they're interior players or outside players or whatever it may be. And they don't get down. They don't get rattled. The Memphis game, I think it was, where Dusty drew up the out of bounds play with 5 seconds, and they drove to the lane and dropped it in. They were poised in the timeout. I mean, if you look at the roster, they're still young. He's got a lot of freshmen and sophomores, because some guys have been redshirted. But this is not an all-senior team, and this is something that he really could continue to build for years to come. Lane Kiffin did a great job there in football and got them going. I think Dusty will do the same.
Yeah, we were talking about the classic Kansas State Michigan State game. We had also had one between UCLA and Gonzaga. When Amari Bailey hit the three and put the Bruins up by one, I just felt like they were going to win right there. But Julian Strother from the top of the key, deep, it looked like an NBA three, wins it for the Bulldogs.
Well, they ran the old Villanova play and pitched it back. It was. I thought he had taken the shot a little bit too early, but ended up working out. And it just, he was loose. He was comfortable, and I think he says something in the huddle. Coach, how do you want me to, handle this? And he said, if you're open, you shoot it. And he said, okay. And that's what he did. And, this is the first time in a long time where Gonzaga's kind of been the underdog, every year, they've been a 1C, a 1 overall, and everybody's thinking they're going to, win every game. And now here they are sneaking up. I mean, UCLA is a good team. They were banged up. And that I think was a problem, but they were a really, really good team, and they could have easily won the whole thing. So, will Gonzaga, win it all? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, it really could be a deal where Princeton is in the Final Four and FAU and somebody else. And I don't know. We'll see. It's just going to be. It's been so much fun. It's going to be a lot more fun these next couple days.
Yeah, the Bulldogs are 31-5, and everybody feels nobody's talked about them since early in the season. I mean, they lost a couple, games against strong teams. The WCC feels to me like it's gotten better, and that's why they had some close games against some teams that, quote unquote, maybe they used to blow out. They're at 31-5, and I mean, when you look at Drew Timmy, last night as a power in that middle, I mean, they could definitely win 3 more games and take Mark Few's first national title.
Could absolutely happen. It could. I mean, Timmy's a tremendous talent. He's already said he's going out next year. And I know he wants to leave on a high note, and they've gotten better as the season has gone. And what they did at St. Mary's in the conference tournament, they're as good as anybody.
The big surprise, or maybe not the big surprise, but one as big as Tennessee, I thought, was the Razorbacks losing to UConn. And losing the way they did, 88-65. I thought Arkansas was going to be deeper, and I thought they would be able to use their depth and athleticism, not really to stop Sonogo, but to, thwart him being able to do something every time he got the ball. That didn't happen. Shows what I know.
Well, Arkansas was one of those years where they never had all their guys together. They had different issues and injuries, and Nick Smith didn't come on till the very end, and I think he had a hard time jumping in and fitting in, where he should be. And I noticed sometimes that he wasn't in the wrong position for a set play, and it's hard, I think. And then they just never, they had times where they looked really good, and then that just was a bad fit for him, I think. But they've done an incredible job. I mean, 2 Elite Eights and a Sweet 16 in the last 3 years. It's tremendous. And he'll continue to get players, and they'll be back, in the mix next year.
I think San Diego State is a team that can pull off another upset tonight against Alabama. They're deep. I think their post play these guys are really athletic and they're underrated. The play out of Bradley and Trammell in the backcourt is going to cause some problems for Alabama in guarding these guys.
Yeah, well, San Diego State, first of all, they're definitely older. They played together.
Mhm.
They've got
Yeah.
a lot of length and size.
Mm.
They can sub a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
guys in and out in that 4 or 5 spot. Um, I was texting with Brian Dutcher, wishing him good luck, and I told him that this reminded me of when we were at SC. We were playing Texas, who had Kevin Durant, who Miller, is really close to what Durant's like, and even at the same age point. Long, can shoot it from anywhere, can handle it at 6'9". And my advice, I said, what we did is we were real aggressive with them, not let him catch it, and then put a 6'5", 6'6" guy on him and get under him, and then try to trap him, but just try to get him
Mhm.
frustrated because he's the kind of player like Durant. You let him shoot whenever he wants, he's just going to get going. You have 12 points the first 5 minutes. But if he doesn't have
Sure.
any points in the first 12 minutes, and they start feeling it, and that's how they can struggle. But San Diego State could definitely win the game. They're going to have to play very well, and they're going to have to keep Miller under 20 points. I think
Mhm.
that will be a key, and they can't turn it over. You cannot have unforced turnovers that lead to runouts and dunks and all that. It just will not. You have to play a smart game, be physical, and make your open shots, make your free throws, and play a clean game, and you'll have a chance at the end. And that's all you want to do for San Diego State is be within 4 points as you get down to 2 3 minute mark.
Princeton, Creighton is going to be interesting with how the Tigers knocked off Arizona and Missouri last week. Um, I can't get a feel for this game at all.
Well, what I noticed a lot about Princeton is they're not running the old Princeton offense that Mitch played in for Coach Carrill. They're spreading it out and they're running a lot of ball screens, and they run some variations of it, but they play a little bit. They like to get up and down, and if they see an open shot early, they'll shoot it. They're so much more athletic with the big kid inside. I mean, he's tip dunking everything, blocking shots, changing shots. I mean, that's made their team completely different from just
Mhm.
a back cut layup kind of team, handoff, step back shooting kind of team. They to me are sneaky, and if you take them for granted, you could be in trouble. But they're a good team, and they're older, and most of those kids are upperclassmen, and they know how to play.
Matchups you're going to see there in Kansas City this evening. The Houston Miami game is really interesting, and how the Hurricanes are, an offensive force, and in Houston, is one of the top defensive teams in the country, but their athleticism allows them to have an offensive input once they make stops, get the defensive rebounds, or when they turn their opponents over.
Well, Houston is talented, and they're Kelvin is as good a coach as anybody in the country, and he recruits wherever he can find his kind of guys. I mean, they are going to move you around. They're going up two hands and grabbing boards. They're going to push that ball. And I really like the Shed kid. I think he is just
Mm-hmm.
tough. He's a winner. And I know that program has had this year circled in their office for probably 5 years from when it was announced that the Final Four would be in Houston. And as
Mm-hmm.
this program has grown, which is incredible because I can remember 10, 15 years ago, nobody went to the games. It was an old facility.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody had anything to do with Houston basketball. And I knew when they hired Kelvin Sampson that if there is a guy that could flip it and flip it big, it would be him. And what he's
Mm-hmm.
done, he's really just taking guys from wherever, and they know how to win. They're tough. They're older. Not to say they can't get beat, is because
Mm-hmm.
they're not super deep. You saw what happened in the championship game of their conference, and they
Yeah.
were just down one player, and didn't have enough firepower. So they need all their main 3 4 guys to be playing at a high level to continue to win. But they can smell it. They can, it'll be pretty amazing for them to be playing at home to win a national title.
Yeah.
Just to get there is going to be something. So they're going to be highly motivated. But then Miami is sneaky. Coach Larinaga is a heck of a coach, and he's got something up his sleeve. So I got my friend here who played for Coach Larinaga, Kirk Whiteman. He played for him at Bowling Green. And he's here with his family because his son is a manager, and so we're going to go see the game and hang out a little bit. And I think we're going to watch a little bit of the next game, which is, I want to say, it's Texas and Xavier.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Texas and Xavier. I think the Longhorns, I was real surprised that the Longhorns got seeded in the same region as Houston, because I thought it would be fun if they were, if they were able to win, 4 games, and then you got Houston and Texas playing in Houston, Texas.
Yeah, no question. Well, it's going to be fun. For Texas, I think they're playing as well as anybody in the country right now. They're hot. They really are playing for their coach. I know their AD, Chris Del Conte, wants to, wait it out before he names a coach. But I think Rodney's going to make the decisions for everybody by just continuing to win. Taking over a team as an interim coach, I've done it. It's very, very difficult. And you can go 2 ways. You could splinter quick, or you could bring them together, and you can still lose close games. For them to win the conference tournament in that league and to have as many wins as they have is incredible. And there should be other ADs lined up right now and just ready to find out that if he doesn't get the job, they need to call Rodney and offer him a job at any level.
Definitely.
He's been a head coach. He's been an assistant at Texas with Durant and all those great players they had. And then he was at Fresno State as a head coach and UTEP. He's ready to go. He's ready. He showed it. He showed it at a national high level. Every game sold out. Every game packed. He's done a very good job with the media, handling the press. I don't know. I think he deserves the job. I really do. So hopefully they win and make it easier for him to get it.
I think it should be easy right now. Coach Bob Cantu, ladies and gentlemen, marching to madness, one of the best and most knowledgeable coaches in the game. Coach, I always enjoy you coming on here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate your time.